Hi everyone, I'm hopeful that all you will be fine. In the last session, we have discussed regarding how we can actually enable the breakout sessions using the breakout session payload inside the meeting payload. Okay, so I have described all the things on the last session. Okay, in the today's session, we will discuss regarding the meeting setting options when we are going to schedule the meeting. Okay, so for that, first field inside the meeting setting, you have called schedule type. Inside that, you can set any one value. Okay, from this set. So either you can set here meeting, which will be a regular meeting, and you can also set webinar if you are going to schedule a webinar, and you can also set the personal room meeting. Okay, so you can pick any one value and set for the schedule type. Okay, and that will be your session type. Okay, but if you are setting personal room meeting type as a schedule type, then you have 6 different type of limitations or the payload. So if you have a set personal room meeting as a schedule type, then you cannot set room ID. Okay, and you cannot set template ID, and also you will not be able to set the integration text, and you cannot also set the enabled auto record meeting option. Okay, and you can also not set enabled webcast view. This option will be not also available when you are going to schedule type personal meeting room. Okay, and you cannot also enable the registration on that meeting. Okay, so these are the 6 different limitations when you are going to setting the personal room meeting as a schedule type. Okay, now let's start with the meeting options. What options you have inside the meeting option? If you are needed to disable the chat for the attendees, then you need to set the enable chat to false, and the chat will be disabled for the participants or attendees. Either if you are interested to enable that, then you can say it here true. Okay, and if you are also interested to disable the video for the participant, then you can also disable that by setting enabled video option to false. Okay, and for enabling or by default, this is true. Okay, and if you are also interested to disable or enable the note taker for the attendees will be able to take the notes from the meeting, then you can also disable or enable that option by setting enabled note. Okay, to false to enable that, to disable that, and true for enable that. Okay, and you can also enable or disable the meeting pooling. Okay, so for that you need to set the enable pooling option to false. Okay, and to enable or availing that pooling feature inside the meeting, you set true. Okay, and you have also another option inside the meeting options object called node type. Okay, so inside that you can set the node types. So there are only 2 different types. So you can set inside the node type the value in the type of string. So by default it is allow all. If you have enabled node to true, by default it is allow all. You can also set this to allow one. Okay, and if you have set it allow one to node type, that means the host is only able to take the nodes. Okay, and you can set the value in the type of string inside this node type option or field. Okay, and you can also enable or disable closed captions by setting enabled closed captions option to true or false. Okay, so for enabling you set true, and for disabling you set false. And you can also enable or disable the file transfer for the meetings. Okay, so you can enable or disable that by using enabled file transfer field to true or false. So if you are setting true, that means you are allowing the participants or attendees to share the files, and for disabling that you are setting false. Okay, and you can also enable or disable UCF rich media file types. Okay, so you can enable or disable by setting enable UCF, means universal communication files rich media field to true or false. To enable, set true. To disabling, you need to set false on that. Okay, and these different options totally depend on the session type. Okay, so that means what session type you are going to schedule. Okay, so session type will be a meeting, a webinar, a private meeting. Okay, so that these are the session types, and the above meeting options will be totally depend on these different types. Okay, and also the plan will be effect on these options. Okay, so now let's start to schedule a meeting with the different options. Basically, I have a basic plan or a free plan with the Webex where I'm going to schedule the meeting. Okay, then we first need to start the API. We say npm start, and then we need to navigate to the browser, and we need to authorize. We say API Webex authorize. We have successfully authorized. Now let's open the Postman. Inside the Postman, we have a Webex collection, create meeting request. Inside that, I have already placed different options or required fields. So we can say it here, schedule type, okay, schedule type to meeting, and by default, schedule type is meeting, okay? But we are also setting that here. If you are setting here personal room meeting as a schedule type, then you cannot disable or enable the enable chat option or enable video option, okay? So for the meeting options, we just need different options. So I'm disabling the chat, so setting chat to false, and I am setting enabled video to true, and I'm also disabling the enabled note to false. Okay, for remaining options, I'm leaving those for you. Just get the code and test those. Okay, and if you are facing any problem or any query, then just please share inside the video comment section. Okay, now save this, send the request, and let's navigate to the meeting options. You can see here we have enabled chat to false. We have a set it false. Enable video true. Here you can see we have a set it true. Enable note. Here is the false. We have a set it false. Okay, now let's change this type to the personal room meeting, and you will see that there will be no effect on a setting default to chat. Okay, so personal room meeting, save this, and now create that. Now you can see here by default it is going and creating as a true. Okay, so this option is going to be ignored by the API when you are setting personal room meeting. Okay, and if you are still facing any problem or any query you have, then please share your queries via the video comment section. And either if you have any query or suggestion, then all those are most welcome. You can share those also via my shared contact details, and hopefully we will come back with another session. Take care. Bye bye.